Hi friends, back the feminist lawyer again, and today we're going to talk about 6 prominent fascist leaders in history and how their values and personalities are reflected in the current American GOP. Buckle up, y'all, it's about to get frightening. We start today's tour in Italy with Mussolini. In 1922, he was appointed prime minister due to the threats of civil war if he was denied power. This was as a result of a massive fascist demonstration called the March on Rome. And this was extremely reminiscent of the January 6th insurrection, where they were waving guns and saying it was our 1776 moment. This was exactly the March on Rome. Mussolini was a racist, and his government removed blacks and Jews from power. Reminds me a bit of the Tennessee legislature. Then we're going to move on to the big baddie that we all know, that's Hitler in Germany. Of course, he ruined or killed all of his political opposition. And that kind of reminds me of the attacks on Nancy Pelosi's husband, or, building a gallows outside the Capitol, waving guns around, shooting at cops, beating cops with flagpoles. And then he, among all of the Jews that he killed in the Holocaust, there were 5 million LGBTQ, Roma, disabled, and anyone who the Germans believed were inferior. Now, of course, this is extremely reminiscent of the laws that are being passed in Florida right now. And then let's look at the American healthcare system. I mean, anybody who's disabled in America is pretty much screwed unless they're rich. Let's cut all those social programs because people are gaming the system. I know you've all seen the right-wing stereotypes of the welfare mother. Anybody who's on a social program, according to the right wing, is just, it's a taker. Now we're going to move on to Spain with Franco. He was the youngest general in Spain's army, and then he eventually commanded his own army of nationalists against a popularist movement. He imprisoned and executed political dissidents. Boy, doesn't that remind you of a guy in Florida that's trying to raise his own army to silence political dissidents? Now we're going to go over to Hungary, where there's Szalasi. He had extreme views, and his parties that he had founded operated in secret. And as they were banned one by one, he would just form another one. He was known for his loyalty to Hitler, and he was an extreme anti-Semite. His story reminds me a lot of these underground movements, the Proud Boys and all of these folks flying their Don't Tread on Me flags and business like that. Meanwhile, they're pointing over here going, look, that's Antifa. It's all Antifa's fault. Y'all do know that Antifa is short for anti-fascist, right? It's supposed to be kind of an American principle. Now we're going to go over to jolly old England with Mosley. He lost re-election to Parliament in 1931 and pitched a hissy fit like someone we know. Founded a radical movement called the British Union of Fascists, which had tens of thousands of members. Apparently he was a pretty popular guy. Brits banned the BUF and jailed Mosley as an enemy sympathizer. And boy, doesn't this sound like all of the pro-Putin maggots out there. He also founded a group of street gangs called the Black Shirts, and these folks went out and attacked Jews, socialists, and trade unionists. That sounds familiar. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like Lauren Boebert with her, cordless hole puncher shirt? You've got to be fucking kidding me. And yeah, I mispronounced her name, and no, I don't care. Lastly, we're going to head down to Brazil because this is the one that really rings true for America. We're going to talk about Salgado. Now, he idolized Benito Mussolini, and he founded the Integralist Party. The whole point of the Integralist Party was to return Brazilian pride, family values, and Christianity to the country. He was the Christo-fascist. He was exiled for supporting an uprising. Now, he supported a paramilitary, so he gathered all of his numbnut supporters with all of their guns and tried to overthrow the government in a way that is very familiar. And he wasn't even an anti-Semite. He had no qualms about ethnicity. His deal was, he was a Christo-fascist. He wanted to establish a theocracy. Come on, y'all. You know this all sounds familiar. If you are not up in arms about the rise of Christo-fascism in the United States, you are blind. Don't shut up. Don't be quiet. Get out there and vote. fight fascism. Be safe out there, friends. Keep fighting the good fight.